Yeah. So help me welcome today's host or today's guest, Benis, onto Time with a Hacker. Benis, you're welcome.
Thank you, Elvis. How
Please
you
let the
doing?
emojis flow. Let the emojis flow. Let the emojis flow. The only lady with OSCP. Charlie, even for the guys, sleepless night cry is not solving it. Like, if you know what it takes to get the OSCP,
Really?
you will let the emojis flow. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love it. I love it. Benis, you're welcome once again.
Thank you very much, Elvis. It's nice being
Uh,
here.
on my side here, her voice is low. Is that the same thing for you guys?
Oh, can you hear me well? Is it better now?
Uh, guys, is it better? You have to tell
Is
me,
it
guys.
better?
Let me um
Is my voice loud enough for everyone now?
please emojis if her voice is loud enough.
Okay. Okay.
Give me a second. So that
Okay. Okay.
okay, so
The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
I hope I'm not disturbing anybody's ears. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, great, 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 great. Okay. So please put all your questions in the chat as we go on. I've opened the chat right now. We will not be doing any W's in the chat. We'll just be doing questions about cybersecurity in the chat. Please put all your questions in the chat, and then we would ask our guest for today. So, Benis, let's start off with
Yes,
a little
Elvis.
bit of introduction. How did you get into cybersecurity in the first place?
Hmm. Listen, it's always been a funny story to me to tell every time. It's very funny because literally I was a business student and coming to uni, I was more or less like, okay, I'll be a business administration student. Yeah, that's key. It's
No,
constant. Nothing was changing that. And I got to a point in the process of doing the administration process and all those kind of thing, picking the schools, picking the courses, and I was like, okay, why not jump into something new? And I chose that's information technology. Yes, information back in uni. And the whole thing is just very funny. I still got to uni. I was quite lost and I didn't know what I was doing. I was jumping from development to data science to so many things. And lo and behold, I came across one person who was in security. I think he's a popular person in the industry. You guys might know him, the CEO of Invitech Global. Yeah, he's a good
hey,
friend of mine, and he was like, "Oh, okay."
Alaji Blay.
He, yes, allegedly. And
This
he was
man has
like,
mentored a lot of people. Okay, let's go ahead because
so,
our last guest on this
mm-hmm.
program, he was actually in contact with Alaji Blay, and he always credits some of the things he's done. He has done to Alaji Blay. Sometimes he says he
Yeah,
calls him to ask for his insight about certain things. Okay, so
yeah,
it means that people really need somebody to like to study under or to be mentored under, right?
yeah, kind of. You see, it's a sense of, let's say, willingness to do the thing. Sometimes you maybe find
Okay,
a mentor, but if you, the individual, is not willing to push yourself to get the knowledge, I'm sorry, you may not get it. The people
okay,
in the industry already, as we are meeting them, they are very busy. They're trying to make their life, they're trying to build stuff, they're trying to do things. So you're more or less going to be kind of clingy to them to get what you want. You always
okay.
have to
Because
call them, oh, do you have these free stuff I can do for you? Work, this. And then the process of doing the free stuff, you learn. By a point comes to stop the free stuff. That's how the world is.
okay, okay. Because people come to me and they're like, "I want you to mentor me," but
Hmm.
they don't come back again after you give them some one or two things to learn, so that you could actually hand over some work to them. Do you have a similar
That's
experience?
oh
Because
yeah, I
you
have a
realize that
similar
yeah,
experience.
the person the person is ready to do the work, but the knowledge is not there at the moment. So you ask the person to go
Yes.
and learn something, come back, and then you hand over the work to him, but the person will never show up again.
Yes. That's why I said it's more about the commitment and willing to get down to the very depth of what you want. So sometimes
Okay,
it's not about even getting the mentor. You can get a mentor, but it depends on the individual. Are you willing to sit your ass down or let some things off your table and just get a work done or not? So it all depends on the individual. Sometimes the people approach you and you give them a criteria of, okay, put your hands on this, try that out, and they don't come back anymore. They just feel like it's overwhelming and they can't do it anymore. And it's, well, and it's, not everybody is cut out for some kind of profession. So you didn't blame someone for that. It depends on the
okay.
individual's strengths and weaknesses. So going back to my story, I deviated a little. Sorry about that. So I got to meet Safian, and yes, he was like, the first question he asked me was, what am I doing in the IT? I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just going to school probably when I'm done and I'll figure out what I want to do. So I was quite lost, yes, because I was from a business background. I didn't have any tech background, and I was like, okay, let me just try my hands on this. It looks interesting. I kind of like exploring. So yeah, uni was the peak of it at a point in time for me. I was like, okay, let's try this. So he was okay, Dennis, I'm introducing you to defensive and offensive. He explained it to me. He was like, think about it. Call me back. You know your strengths, you know your weaknesses. What do you think will work for you? So at the end of the day, I called him back and I told him, yeah, I read business, business in high school. Yes, it's not that hard. I would say. So I called him back and I told him I just want to try both. So I want to try the offensive and the defensive for a while and see what I'll find interesting. And funny enough, I end up liking both of them. So I went to be the both of them. I studied across board, both offensive. Some people say the offensive, the pen test and stuff. Yes, I try picking that up. It's interesting because you try to see things that average person wouldn't see. Your sense of observation and everything is at a peak. You're trying to see things, especially when you're working on a bus and you're putting it, the job of just getting the thing done is just interesting. But when you come to defensive, defensive also interesting. That is the main aspect I work in majority of the time right now. It's also a very
Okay,
interesting area.
okay.
There can be offensive and there won't be defensive. You need they'll both work hand in hand. An attacker is trying to hit people. You also try to protect. So you hit, we protect, you hit, we protect. That's the fun. It's like cat and mouse game. So basically, that is how I go into cybersecurity. Yeah, and I started going for conferences to meet people. And along the line, I met more interesting people. I met Nihak, also became my mentor. I met
Wow.
Mr. Gavin, also became my mentor. I met a whole lot of
Hey.
people in this industry, and they just all help it. If they see that you are willing to go as far as they just put in some effort and you realize that they'll be there for you. Just give them a call up and you realize, okay, they'll explain stuff to you. And before you know it, you are rolling, you are going. But imagine as someone who doesn't have the time and you ask for help and you kind of look like they're not interested in even helping yourself. They don't really want to help that kind of person anymore. They pull back. They be like, okay,
Okay,
if you are willing to come up, you'll come up. So yeah, basically that's how it's as a security. So I would say more of networking, knowing the right people in the industry, and you'll be good to go.
okay, okay. So basically, what you are trying to say is that when you started, you had to have a taste of both the red team and the blue team. The red team being those that hack, um,
Yes.
and then the blue team being what were you doing in blue team? Was it just forensics, or how did you start your blue team journey, or what did you learn about blue team in the first place?
Okay, so the blue team, I'll say that over the period of learning security, I was more focused on red team. That's the offensive part. But
Okay,
somewhere last 2 years, I switched into blue team. And it was interesting. I started with threat hunting because I had a basic knowledge of offensive already. You know what you are hunting. You know what you are looking for. If you are a hunter, you know what you'll be hunting at the end of the day. You're always hunting someone down. So now it's like, yeah, you're now the hunted. So you have to looking out for the tricks you were using back then when you are hunting. And so that's how it all looks like.
okay, okay. So it's not like you've swayed. You are doing both, but what you love doing now, or what your job requires you to do now, is more of the defensive side, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so I think we've answered one question that was in the chat. Please, if you
Okay.
have any questions, drop it in the chat and we'll ask her for you. People are also encouraging you on your journey because I mean,
Oh,
from
thank
business
you.
background without any IT knowledge, you go into the university, you try out IT, and not just IT. In addition to learning IT, you do cybersecurity, which is entirely different from the IT that we do in school. So I mean, you are capable of doing a lot. I mean, I know you are capable. So while we have this conversation, please be ready to share your screen because I know people came here to see Keche. Keche. They came here to see what you would have done on a normal or a regular pen test. What would you have done? And we
Okay.
also want them to also pick some lessons from um your story. So those of you who are learning, who are listening, it's not just about maybe going to university, doing IT and all that. Cybersecurity has no form or format. You just have to be ready to dive straight into it. And so, how many years has it been since your journey into cybersecurity? How many years?
Okay, if you're adding my uni years to it, I would say 4 years, but still close to 7 years now in the whole journey.
Wow, wow. Let's talk about the OSCP. So, how did you get the OSCP? Like, how did you get it? Let me put it that way.
Hmm. It's a very, it's an interesting story. I don't know if everyone here knows. It's quite public information because I placed it out there myself.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got
yeah.
the
But
OSCP on my second attempt. The first
second
attempt,
attempt.
yes.
So it means that if somebody here wrote a cybersecurity course or certification and couldn't get it, he or she should be looking at another attempt, right?
Yeah,
Let's
you
go
just
ahead.
keep on going. You don't stop. Sometimes you just want that and you go for it.
Okay.
If you know the
So
relevance of whatever you're looking for, just go for it.
okay, okay, okay. Because I know people who come into my DM and they are like, "Chala, I'm afraid of this exam. What if I fail?" Even if you fail, you'll be able to rewrite it. You can retake it. The first time that you
Yeah.
got it wrong, the first time you got it wrong, you didn't just fail, you got experience. Now you know how the questions are, you know the kind of things you're going to face. And so you become better at even teaching people how they should go about their journey and all that. So um tell us a little bit about it and then we go on to our CTF. You can start sharing your screen. So your
Okay.
after what happened during your first attempt? What did you learn during the first attempt and what did you do right in the second attempt?
Well, my first attempt was very okay. Was quite like let me see. It was something that I wasn't really prepared for. I would say that because after the exam, when I reassessed myself, I realized that nope, Benes, you didn't do your strategic. Your strategy was very bad. You just jump into it. You didn't prepare yourself properly. It
Okay.
just because one thing that people undermine or underestimate is their sleep, the cycle. That was one thing. After the time I took it the first time, I was doing my service and I had to go to work thinking, okay, I'm strong, I can stay awake. And lo and behold, I was so exhausted mentally. It's kind of like a mental challenge for you when you're writing quite like an exam. So one thing that we should always look forward to is more of how do I even say this? The timing, your strength. Don't over stress yourself and you realize that it's not going to work out. But as at that time, you're already done. So with the whole process of OSCP, the first attempt, I wasn't fully prepared. I didn't know my left from right. I wouldn't be ashamed of saying that story because it's something that told me of how to re-prepare myself, how to regather myself before I go in for the next attempt. The first attempt, I was able to put 2 boxes. Honestly speaking, the AD, I couldn't even see the entry point of the AD because by the time I got to start the AD, my eyes were rolling. Everything was just blurry. The sleep was just overtaking my brain. Everything was off. I was like, no, 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 this is not going to work. It's just not going to work. At a point, I gave up for some few hours. I was like, maybe I just have to give up. I went in back again and I tried and I realized that nope, 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 nope. I know myself. It's not going to work. My brain is
Okay.
off. It's off the
Okay.
room. It just needs sleep. So
I see.
I tried again. By the time was over, I realized that, oh, yeah, Ben is didn't prepare properly. You didn't take, I was overwhelmed with, when you're starting life, maybe service and all those things, you don't really know your time management properly because you're now starting the first form of employment for you. You think you can juggle between it and the way you juggle between stuff in school. And it was a lie I told myself, a very big lie I told myself. So when you start working and you want to write applications, it's more or less like time management and how you can strategize properly in order to get the work done. So
Okay.
if you are in school, you might manage somehow because you're writing exams. Exams are exam along the line. But with work, it becomes very difficult. You don't get time to prepare. You don't get time to study. Your boss is calling you, get this done, get that done, and all those kind of things. So you need to really sit and ask yourself, how do I strategize? How do I get this done properly? So the first attempt, I failed. Yes, they sent me the email. Dennis, you couldn't submit a report. I was like, okay. I felt bad. I was like, okay, let's see. So after that, a couple of people knew I was writing the exam. They were like, oh, okay, when are you taking your next attempt? And one thing I would say is that nobody should force you into taking your next attempt. Be prepared yourself. Be ready. Be
Okay.
willing to get that done. If you're not ready, don't force it. Don't push it. Nobody should push you. Pressure can, you guys say this in not literal English. Pressure will barb you. Yes, pressure will barb you. Like, hey, yeah, you're ready. Just take it. Just take it. That kind of thing. But nope, work at your own pace so that when it doesn't go or you don't have to point fingers at anybody to blame anybody. You know that this is all on you. You take full responsibility of your own action and regather yourself and go back again. So on the
Uh,
second attempt,
mhm.
yeah, Elf is coming if you want to say
Yeah,
something.
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. On the second
So
attempt.
on this, yeah, on the second attempt, that's when things got really interesting for me because looks like um I was already up my game. Before I knew it, I was done with the first, second boxes. I finished my exam in, if I'm not lying, in about 11 hours. That is when I finished all my exams and I went to sleep. Because as at the time I started that, I was very much ready for this. I was like, before I went and I told myself, we are not coming back to this exam again because I'm really ready for you this time around. So I went in, good enough. I started with the AD. The AD was smooth. It was just going the way I envisioned it to be. The things I planned it to be, and in my head it was just okay, okay, this is looking interesting. Before I
No.
knew it, I was almost done with the AD. Latter part of getting to the domain controller, I was like, Jesus Christ, what is this? It was just giving me headache. It was delaying my whole timing and everything. But I just had to sit back, breathe in, breathe out, take some, just sometimes you need to take your eyes off the screen a little bit to gather your thoughts back. So you gotta regather your thoughts and you come back like, oh, it's just right in front of you. And before you know it, you are done. You are good to go and all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
came back and I realized I was done with the AD. After some few hours, I took a 1 hour break. So always take break in between. Don't try to cram everything up and maybe yeah, you can set a time for yourself, but your brain also needs a break. So you take a
Mm,
break and before you know it, to jump on the first standalone, the second standalone. If you want to finish everything, that's your cup of tea. 70% is the pass mark. I did two standalones and the 80, which is 80. So you are good to go. You give them extra 10 to be fine. I was trying to be stubborn and be like, okay, I did the last boss. After that, around my head was spinning. I was like, nope, nope, nope. I'm not doing this. I'll just look at it
but,
and see how it's going.
Dennis,
So
I
when my
wanted
head
to
starts
interrupt.
spinning, I was, yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to interrupt because I mean, what you're saying, uh, I don't know how much you prepared because you admit that you really prepared. I know of top people who couldn't finish this exam even in the 24 hours, and you're
Yep.
able to finish the AD and two other standalone boxes in 11 hours. Even the 11 hours, you still took breaks. Please, can we get some
Yeah.
clapping emoji and some thumbs up? You just don't know how difficult these things are. Please, let's shower some love on her. Now, before we go on, she's trying to connect her machine to Proving Grounds. Proving Grounds is from OSCP, or Better Store Offensive Security. This is a box that will help you to understand, or if you want to also do OSCP, this is one of the boxes that you may have to do. Now, I have two questions here. I have three questions here. Somebody is saying that was
Okay.
it an open book
Mm-hmm.
test so that you can reference from your notes the OSCP?
Oh, yeah, it's an open book. So before you
Okay.
even write, just make sure that you have your cheat sheets because before you even write the exam, you had worked on so many boxes. I don't know, me, I've not worked on so many boxes. If you see my notes here, you can see that a whole lot of machines have been done. I've done a whole lot of machines. So you have done a whole lot just to keep up with the system. People do sometimes do everything. I don't know if you guys can see my notes. So you need to
Yeah.
have a well organized notes. And in that well organized notes, you've done a lot of machines to get familiar with the environment and everything. And read their PDF, read it. There's something about OPSEC. They have a strategy, they have a tactics to play on you. Sometimes they'll filter some pots. Before you know it, you are hitting on a pot that is filtered and you just be there. The approach is supposed to work, but it's not going to work because it's filtered. And they are trying to indirectly tell you, you did not read the materials to realize that as you were writing and reading the materials, you realize that these pots are always filtered. So it's more
Okay.
or less like as you keep on reading or practicing in their environment, you get familiar with their way of doing things. And you realize that you are buying into the idea and you are good to go.
Okay.
That's how it
So
is.
another question is, um, do you think we should take part in certification courses? And if we should, which ones should we take part in?
Okay. Taking part in certification courses is good, but and it's not good. There are two sides to that. It's not good because of sometimes people rush into it at the very beginning of their career path, the journey, which is a problem. These certifications are very expensive. They are not cheap. They don't come cheap. If you see a free one and you want to take, yeah, go ahead, try your hands on it. But if you are at the very beginning of your career, let's say you're now trying to even get into the industry, some people go and buy maybe OSCP voucher. OSCP one, learn one package is almost, I think, 3K. That's dollars. So imagine paying for that and you don't pass. You're it's like indirectly you've not even prepared properly. Yes, I said you should try writing it and go write again. But we humans have what we call the common sense. That is what differentiates us from some animals. So you assess yourself and ask yourself, are you willing to take this risk or not? So it's a risk, an amount of risks you can take, all that kind of thing also come into this education. So you can take it, it's all right, it's good. But when I joined the industry, something clicked in my head. When I was back in school, I take certifications, but I make sure I take the free ones along the line. I take some paid ones, that's the ECPPT and other ones. Those ones you have to pay for it before you take it. Or if you get an organization that could sponsor you, that is fine. You can try your hands on them. But you get to the industry and realize that people have been trying or working in the field for a whole lot of years. And when they're about to write certification, it's back to back. They just take it back to back and they don't have a problem because, like, now you are into what you have been doing for years, and that the same thing you're going to replicate on paper or on a document for someone to mark. So, let's imagine you have been assistant admin for almost 10 years, a decade, and you know the AD environment like the back of your hand. So if you're going to write an AD exams, yes, some knowledge from your personal studies plus that knowledge is going to give you an upper hand or as maybe against who doesn't have any knowledge in AD environment at all. Is just trying to start the whole journey and going through. So yeah, I can take certifications, but also examine your level in the industry before you go ahead and take the certifications you want to take. If you want to go
Okay.
for writing certifications, you can do that. Blue teams, you can do that. That's fine.
Okay. Okay. We'll ask the rest of the questions when we are done with the box. So let's go straight into the box.
Okay.
We don't want to spend too much time. So
I okay, should
let's
I go
let's
ahead
go.
now?
So I hand over
Okay.
control to you. Today we'll be doing a box on proving grounds from OS towards your journey in OSCP, fun box, and this is an easy box. Easy means that it's beginner friendly. So I hope
Yeah.
you guys will bring on your questions and let's understand how she approaches a target. Now let's go ahead, Bernice. Over to
All
you.
right. So Elvis has explained to you what a platform is. So if you are new to OPSEC, this is the OPSEC play practice we have play and practice platform for preparation towards your OSCP, OSIR, or any certification that OPSEC is offering. So some certifications that they need to practice and play all these things just to get familiar with it. So for you to start the machine, this is a stop button. Earlier, I'm go back and you guys to say something. I just want to make everybody comfortable before we start. So this is the buttons that you can use to revert the machine, or submit a flag. So you pick your machine. So you come here, explore, then you pick a lab. This is paid. This is paid for. This is free. So anyone at all can just create an OPSEC account and start with this, the play. If you want to get acquainted or be okay with this, uh, boxes and all this, just start with the play. If you get money and you find it interesting, you jump onto the practice and pay for it, then you are good to go. And so let's go back to our machine. So we have so first things first, normally you see when we're about to do something, we normally scan to see the services, the ports, and the maybe anything that we can find on this machine at the point in time for us to be able for us to be able to pawn the machine or get through to the box and root the machine. So yeah, some people use Nmap, but of late I've found Rascan interesting. So let's try using Rascan.
Okay,
And
so
Rascan is a tool that is used for, yeah, Elvis coming.
yeah, so take it cool for me because we have beginners here. We have a lot of
Oh,
beginners here. Beginners, let's see you with an emoji. Those that have very little experience, let's see you with an emoji. Okay. Only one? Or it means that we are all good. Okay.
No,
good.
no, we are not.
Thank
We are not.
you.
We
Thank you
are
Okay.
for
not.
reducing my
Okay.
stress.
Let's go ahead.
So Rascan works just like Nmap. So Rascan is mostly for speed. If you want details, go into details and go with Nmap. If you want speed, you can go with Rascan. But one thing about Rascan is that Nmap is integrated into Rascan. So you realize that at the end of the day, you'll be able to get even the results that Nmap could have given to you. So let's use Rascan. And when you and maybe you don't understand the Rascan, the whole thing, just type Rascan. Let me do this. Rascan help. And you get all the things you need here. You know, A is address, P is port, R is range, N is no configure. So whatever you need in here is here for you, and the explanation. So basically the help menu gives you better knowledge of what flag or what tag you should be using to scan a particular address that you want to work with. So let's go back to our A, which is the address you saw back then. Then we paste our IP. Then we go with ulimit. Ulimit is just basically going to how do I even explain ulimit to you? Ulimit is one of the tags in Rascan that controls how many file descriptors the system is allowed at once. You know, we have what we call in Linux. Linux consider everything as a file. Network connections count. Everything counts as a file descriptor. So in here, the actual file on this is considered as a file. A network connection is considered as a file. A pipe between processes, a USB device, anything on Linux or Unix system is considered as a file. It's not like Windows that it differentiates them. Here, everything is a file for us. So we're going to limit it to 5,000 so that we could be able to open this amount of connections or let's say file, like I explained, at a time in order to get our work done efficiently. So we're going to scan this and cross our fingers and wait for services and ports that will come up. I could have skipped this and show you my notes, but okay. There's a whole note I did on this for the Nmaps discount. Okay. Okay, it doesn't give us details, but we can still work with this. Okay. You may have just on my notes. Okay, let me not waste my time. So one thing that you will see here is that we have some ports open. We have 22 open, which is SSH, 80, which is HTTP, and 33060. 3306 is mostly SQL, but the different port is assigned in here. So you notice that it's called 33060, which is also named as a service as MySQLX. So now the first thing that we normally look at is the 80. There's no way that, okay, sometimes you can work with port 22 SSH. It may be possible for you to be able to pawn a machine or get initial foothold on a machine with 22, but it's a very rare case. When we have 80, the first thing that comes to mind is to see what the 80 holds. So let's go back to our port 80 and see. So port 80, yeah, I need to minimize this. Can you just move for me?
So all that
Please, a
she's
minute, I need
saying
to
is,
move this.
um,
I need to move back to this number.
if you have a machine and you do your RAS scan or your Nmap scan, and you find the ports that are open. When we say ports, ports are services that are running on the server you are communicating with. So the server or the machine that you are communicating with has three ports open here. We have port 22 for SSH, meaning a secure connection. So usually require a username and a password. That's why she's saying that it's not common for you to get initial access into the server using that port. So try the port 80, which is HTTP, an unsecured version of HTTPS. And she's trying to connect to that, and we can all see it. So she opens it as HTTP and adds the IP to it. Then she now gets this page. Benis, let's go ahead.
Okay. So you can see in here that it sends us to the default Apache website, the first interface that we all get. If you have ever configured Apache before, you realize that is the default interface you get before you start maybe setting up directories and any other stuff that you can visit, and it keeps on going deep into the directories. But this is the default page that anybody will see when you are setting up Apache. So this is the first thing here, Apache web server. So this is the first thing here, but this doesn't really give us any information. So the first thing that I would do as a person who is working on this machine is, first thing that comes to my mind is to do a directory brute force. What is directory brute force? Directory brute force is basically looking for, let's look at folders. They're trying to look for different type of folders on these web servers that you could work with, you could access without probably credentials, or maybe just anything that you can work around. A folder that you could find maybe some interesting information in it. Maybe a file could hold passwords, a file could hold maybe SSH keys or anything at all on this particular server. What if it's not protected? Then bingo, you are good to go. You get that key, you log in via SSH or anything that you find on the system, then you work. But let's do the directory brute force, which is searching for folders. I'll be using Ferrobuster to do this. Ferrobuster, I paste this here. I'll explain this command when I'm done, please. Share word list, list, discovery, DNS, subdomain, top. Okay, so basically this command here, Ferrobuster, it works like GoBuster. If you don't know about that, GoBuster, Ferrobuster, it's just like the way we have preference and tools. Whatever preference you have will lead you to the tools, or however you like the things to be done for you. Someone may consider derp, someone may consider Ferrobuster, someone may consider how do you even call it, GoBuster, or any of the tools that works for you, and that's perfectly
Okay.
fine. And the U
Okay.
here is URL. It's asking you to bring in the URL that you want to scan. And the W here is the tag W here is asking us for the word list. And if you work with Kali majority of the time, sometimes you don't even need to specify the URL part, because by default, it's going to pick the location of the word list and do the scan for you. But because I'm working from Ubuntu, I'm not working on Ubuntu is normally based for pen testing. So you need to configure a lot of stuff if you want to use Ubuntu for any of this work. You need to specify stuff for those things to work just like the way Kali will work out for you. Kali builds up things for you and make it ready for you on the go. You are good to go. You don't need to do a lot of work. So we click enter and wait for it to do some scans for us. Yeah, some things are turning up. The first thing that actually crossed my mind on this machine is the store, and it's 301. When you see 301, it's mostly redirect. So let's see what the 301 holds for us, the store. Some things are coming up again, but let's check this out. Store, we can go back as it's loading to see. We have a gym, we have gym upload, we have profile, we have all these things from a database. This may also catch your eye. Store/database, because majority of the time we store our information in a database. So what if credentials are sitting there? We don't know. So let's see what the first one holds, then we move on to the next. So welcome to online CSE bookstore. This site has been made using PHP with SQL procedure functions. The layout uses bootstraps to make it more responsive. It's just a simple work. So basically, this is what we have in here. We have a bookstore. It's just more or less like an online library. Then you have books, C hash, in a nutshell, C++, Android Studio, the ASP.NET, and yeah, all these things are in here. But looking at this, we found this. This may not be the target, but let's just explore some things here. So we came across this called the admin login. Mostly when we find admin login, the first thing that comes to mind is looking for default credential, or bypassing the login portal. Those are the two things that come to my mind anytime I'm doing something. Yeah, this thing is going to worry me, so I need to be using the tab sim. So sometimes the first clue that should come to your mind is that they gave you the CMS that you are working with. CMS is content management system. So we have the CSC bookstore. It's a CMS that they sets up for a bookshop and all those kind of things. We have a lot of them online there. So this is one thing that drew my attention to this, and I was like, okay, this is something I've worked around before based on prior knowledge or something. But even if you don't have knowledge, that's fine. You just need to pick this and ask yourself, I don't know why today I need to close all this. Let me just use this CSC, bookstore, default credential. So we can check for this. Sometimes you can get something interesting. Yeah, maybe a default credential will pop up. Let me pause on this. I may not need this. So you can see that it's loading. Good. So it's telling us that based on prior knowledge and everything, this could work. So default credential is not like it's constant that the moment you find a default credential, it will work. You need to try it. And this is we don't know what it's going to do. If it's going to accept or just throw us off and tell credential or something. But lo and behold, this works. This works for us. It's logged in. So a default credential approach worked. But what are we looking out for here? What are we looking at? What do we want? What do we want in here? And all these things. It's the next thing that came to mind is that if we have a default credential on this, is there a possibility that there could be a publicly known exploit? Because majority of the time when you're working on an easy box, don't rack your brain. Yes, some easy box may be misleading, especially on Hack the Box. To tell you it's easy, but before you know it, the things you are doing, it doesn't look easy at all. The same thing applies to OPSEC. So it may be misleading, but still use your basic knowledge. Don't try to overthink the thing. Don't overthink the whole machine. And before you know, you're coming to do for maybe exploits, CSC bookstore exploits. Some things may catch your eye, and you'll be like, oh, okay, you should look at them. So we have a multiple SQL ingestion, CSC bookstore, the same version we are working with. But do we want to go with that approach? Well, this approach could possibly work. I've not tried this approach because I wasn't willing to now spawn up web suits and be trying this. Yeah, I'm trying to be a little lazy and also time constraints. So I didn't go with that approach when I was trying out this machine. So I kept on looking and this caught my eyes. This particular exploit, unauthenticated remote code execution. When you mean unauthenticated, it means that you don't even need the login for this to work. You just need to get the target ready and you understand the code you are working with. Anytime you get an exploit, please don't just blindly go ahead and jump onto using the exploit. You need to understand the exploit. You need to understand what is happening there. What if somebody embeds some malicious stuff into a legitimate exploit and you just download it and you are rather doomed all in the name of practicing. And whatever I'm doing here, I'm being very annoying because I'm doing this on my host. And number one, I'm using a VM. So what if I run this script without actually understanding what is in here, and before you know it, boom, you have been compromised. Your machine is gone. So we need to understand this exploit here. And if this place is taking an argument, which is a target, and when it takes the argument, it strips the URL and add a random, so 10 different random, it creates a file name. That will be random, 10 characters, but random, it generates it randomly. And here is the one in our PHP shell that it creates. And when it creates a PHP shell, the web shell, it's a web shell rather, it's a payload. When it creates it automatically sends the payload and the payload is being stored in what we call the bootstrap location in here. But the vulnerability in here is basically on the extension validation. This exploit doesn't validate. If you notice this place, this particular place, it's asking for images. It's asking for images, but it's not really validating if whatever the person is uploaded is an image or just any other file. So even if you upload a PHP web shell or reverse shell, it's going to take it. It's going to take it automatically. That doesn't validate. The server doesn't validate or tell you, okay, this is not the file I'm looking for. Whenever you are creating a website or something, we come across what we call the secure coding. You need to secure every part of your code. When you are creating the system, validation is a necessity for us. You need to understand that when you don't validate your extensions or the files that will be brought into your system, then any file at all can be sent. Then automatically you will be able to be compromised, or the system will just be brought down or defaced or something. But one thing we should also notice here is that the upload files are web accessible and executed the moment it lands in the Bootstrap image directory. So there's this particular directory here, the Bootstrap image. The moment the file lands in there, you are able to access it in the web. So this script is basically doing all that work for you. But for you to validate that the script actually works for you, when you run the script and you see that, okay, this here, the random file name that will be generated, that is the 10 characters, because it's asking for a range of 10. So 10 characters, when it's appended to it and it executes it and you get an interactive shell, then you know that you are on the right path. Things are going the way you want it to go for you. That's basically how this is going to work. If you want to
Okay.
download this particular, yeah, go ahead and.
Yeah. So I want you to take some water, a short break. So for those of you who are a bit confused, just a bit, what she's trying to say is that she has opened the website on port 80. She's trying to find whether there are folders on the website. So if you look at what we are actually having right now on our screen, we have exploitdb.com/exploits. So that slash exploits, she's trying to find whether there are names like that on the web server that she opened. Now she got to realize that there was a store folder which contains a website. So she visited the website and then she looked at it, and the website was running a particular software, or was running on a particular software that is similar to something like WordPress or Joomla. And the name of that software that was running under the website was CSE something something, right? Store book or something. Yeah, bookstore. So she now Googles it, puts it in Google and asks that I want to find exploits, or I want to find ways of exploiting this particular software that I am seeing on the website. And this is where it leads her. She saw something like unauthenticated remote code execution. Unauthenticated here means that you don't need username and password to run this script or this exploit. Remote code execution here means that you get direct access to the server that you want to hack. So she is going through the code with us, explaining the code. I mean, the level at which she's explaining it. This is not somebody who just picks a script and uses it. She's more than a script kiddie. Script kiddies are those that will just come here, pick the script, go and dump it and use it without actually checking it. So she's giving us some really deep insight as to what we should do when we approach something like this. That first of all, somebody might put a malicious code in this good code that you're seeing here. And so if you just run it, imagine if you run it on somebody's system and then it contains malware or it contains ransomware. In fact, that day your boss will finish you. That day will be the end of your cyber career. So she's trying to read the lines one by one. So she talks about the payload. What does the payload does? She's trying to explain to us the file. What does this whole exploit does? So she's saying that the exploit will create a file and it will put it in a folder that is called Bootstrap. And in that Bootstrap folder, there's another folder called IMG. And that's where she would now go and look at it. But if you are a script kiddie and you run this, she's just trying to say that please be careful. Be careful. Not all code that you see would be beneficial in the environment that you are working in. So try and read between the lines of the code before you execute it. I hope most of you have gotten the explanation now. Please, let's continue, Benis.
Okay. Okay, so basically, if you want to work with this particular script, now that we've confirmed that everything looks good here, we can work with it. We need to just download it. Click on this button, and it automatically downloads for you. I have it already, so I won't be downloading this anymore. And normally, when you download it, it might land you in, let's say, at your downloads directory. So you need to move into the preferred directory that you want to work with. And let's say Python. This is the particular script. Please, is my terminal too tiny, or it's okay? That is this better?
Yeah, I like it this way. I like it this way. Thank you.
Okay. So Python 3, and based on the review we did here, you notice that this one is written in Python 3. If it's written in Python 2, then you know that, okay, you need to be using Python 2 to run the script, but it's in Python 3. So we'll be using the Python 3 with the exploits here, 47 here. So sometimes you can just run it this way to see if it, yeah. So it gives you the usage. It needs a host, which is a URL. And in here, you notice that we were asked for the target to be this. The targets should be taken in here. And we should be working with the endpoints that we are trying to target, which is the store. The store was where the whole vulnerability thing will come in and you'll be good. And before you know it, it's working out. So we are still working with this same URL in here, but we'll be removing the admin, sorry, how do I say, admin book.php and to test it with it. Python. So I'm moving this. Fingers crossed, hoping that it will work. Sometimes the scripts might tell you everything and you try it and it won't work. And just break and just be fixing things instead. Yeah.
Some of these things, eh?
Yeah, so you now be troubleshooting, wasting your time around and trying to fix the whole script altogether.
Charlie,
So you see that
Charlie.
this is what we saw at the beginning. So now the store bootstrap img and the random name that was generated in here. The random name has been appended in here as a file. Then the payload. In the payload, you realize that we have in the payload here we have this. This is a web shell, and our distance we have the command that's a CMD, and it's also in here with a question mark, which is basically a search. So we look for that, then we run who am I. So it's automatically appending who am I. And we all know what who am I is. So it's basically asking the system, who are you maybe authenticating, or who are you authenticated as at the moment. If it was a Windows machine and who am I pre, it gives you who you are and all the privileges that the system comes with for you. So yes, we want to launch a show in here. So we go ahead and let's say we can run the who am I again. And we are logged in as www data in here.
So,
But
so
honestly speaking, I didn't like this show. Yeah, go
okay.
ahead, please.
So basically, this is her on the server. So she now has access to the computer that is hosting this website. And she's now logged in as www data, which is a mostly non-privileged user, right?
Yep.
So it's a
Yes.
service that is running on the website, and that's what she has access to. So she says that she wants to upgrade the shell. The shell is where the dollar sign is, and she has been typing her command. She wants to change the nature of the shell because it's restrictive. Sometimes it doesn't allow you to delete or press backspace or move forward and up and all that. So she's trying to change the shell to something else. You can still be in here and do your thing, but it's difficult operating in some of these shells. That's why she's trying to do all these changes. Please, let's go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to pick my Tanzero IP. When you connect it to the VPN, it assigns this IP to you, this particular IP here. So if you are to working on this bus alongside with me right now and you run your ifconfig, sorry, ifconfig is Windows, ifconfig is Linux. So ifconfig, just like what is up here, ifconfig, let me make it a little bigger. So ifconfig in here, see that there are different set of IPs here. We have the Docker, we have the a network interface, we have the Tanzero, and we have my own interface and all those other kind of network stuffs in here. So we're going to pick this IP. Then we go to ref shell. Ref shell is just basically one of the tools that you can use to create a quick reverse shell in order to be able to maybe upgrade a shell or do something else with it. So let's go there. Let's see what is there for us. Ref shell. So reverse shell generator online. All these things can be done manually. You can use MSF Venom to generate a whole payload. and it will still work for you and everything. Or you can, that one you have to create a file, upload it, and execute it. Then you get a callback. You get another shell, a new shell altogether to spawn up a whole new shell for you. Or you can just write it yourself. If it's up your head or one line or something, then you are good to go. But these tools have been created to aid us to do all this kind of thing. So I paste my IP in here and I specify the port I want to be working on. And port 8080 is what I want to be working on. I set my OS. If you notice this, we have a reverse, we have a bind shell, we have a MSF on payloads also here. We have the wax shell, we have the assembled. So whatever you are looking for in here or whatever you are doing will determine what you should be picking up here. So I'm looking for a reverse shell. I don't want a bind shell, I just want a reverse shell in here. So we come here and I want to work with this particular one. This particular reverse shell is more or less very stable for me when I'm working with some stuff. If it's not stable, the next thing I go with is the busy box. If Netcat is on the system, then you can use the NC or the Netcat on whatever approach that works for whatever box you are working on at the point in time. So I need to set up a listener, a Netcat listener. So let me close this so that we get more visibility. Let me just open a new one. So RL wrap, this is just a stable NC netcat. Then I set up the listener port 8080. So if you notice, I used port 8080 in here when I was creating the reverse shell. So I need to still set up my listener on that particular port, or else I won't be able to get a callback or get another shell. Like I'm talking about a new shell for me to work in, a more stable shell to work with. So I go back to the old session I have, which is this, and I paste my reverse shell I just created and hoping that it doesn't break anything and gives me a callback to the new shell I just created. And if it works, then we should, yes, it works. So we have a whole new shell here, which might be more stable. And, oh, who am I? And yeah, we are still the same person from the previous session that we had. And what do we have to say? Sometimes you can list the things here, but they may not be relevant to you. So we say we are now just having image. Majority of the time, I try to go back to home. When you go back to home, it gives you more idea of the users that are on the system, what you can do, and all those kind of things. So who am I? We are still at WPD. So currently, this is where we are var directory. So yeah, if you're after a flag, this is a local.txt here. Just like the way when you're playing other CTF, we find flags. So if you have to cut this local.txt, you say that the flag is in here and you can submit it if that's what your aim is. So for now, we have our initial foothold. But after initial foothold, that's not the end of the day. On Windows, we would have been targeting to get the domain controller and get onto everything, pass the DMZ, now be on the domain controller. Then we have root it, we're not administrator on the system, NC authority. But on Linux, our aim is to become a root. We are supposed to root the system. And you know, root is the highest user on a Linux system. So when you are a root user on a system, then you have control. So let's go ahead to maybe home tilde. Ouch, why is it not moving backwards? Okay, let's do it manually. Okay, CD home. I don't know why the tilde was not sending me to home. So we have a particular user here called Tony. And Tony here is I don't know why he holds. I don't know who he is. So we need to find some more information about Tony in here to see if we can even move to Tony's directory. Oh, well, it looks like we can move to Tony's directory in here. And majority of the time when you're learning on TryHack Me or any other thing, they tell you to go through this. Bash history sometimes can contain maybe credential that has been used and maybe cached in here. So the history will cache all the credentials that have been used and something. But since I've worked on this machine already, I know nothing useful is in there. But there's one interesting file that is here, which is the password.txt. Password.txt, what does it hold? Password, okay. Password.txt. Let me come back and write this thing. So we have, when we cut the password, it gives us what we call SSH. We have something there, it's like a gibberish, but it may be a password. We have the gym admin, also another gibberish, may be a password. But whose password is it? We don't know. There's only one particular user that we've seen on this system, which is Tony. So sometimes your mind has to go back to, what if this is Tony's password? What if I can use this credential to authenticate via SSH with Tony? Or what if I can just switch users in here to Tony with this one of these credentials? So it's more or less like you trying something to see if it's going to work out for you or not. It may not work out, it may work out. If it doesn't work out, then you know, okay, you've ruled that technique out. Okay, let me go to maybe cron jobs. Maybe the cron job, something will be sitting there. Okay, let me go to password shadow file. Maybe a shadow file I can write to it. Or okay, what if I can go with any other approach? Maybe preload, any other privilege escalation method that could work. You may find a share. You may find something different on the system. So it's more or less like you trying so many different techniques and particular one working for you. But before you even try all those techniques, you notice that there will be patterns of why this technique should be the one working for you. So now let's try to see if we can switch to Tony. Currently, we are still not Tony. Even if we are able to move to Tony's directory, if you see if I run who am I, we are still www data. We are not Tony. So we can't even access anything that belongs to Tony. If you run sudo tag L, nothing will come up. Yes, a terminal is required to read the password. Either use tag S options to read the format standard. That is, maybe this particular user is not added to the CDOS group, so we can't even work with it. So now what do? We need to find out if we can leverage on any of these things here. It's an easy machine. It's not a medium or hard machine for us to be thinking a lot. So let's try switching to Tony. Tony here. And we use maybe one of these. What if it works? Yeah, if it works fine, then we're good to go. I don't know. ID. Okay, so when you run an ID, it now shows that we are now Tony. Who am I? Yes, we are currently Tony. So, but we need to stabilize this shell in order to work better with it. So just give me a minute.
Okay. So all that
Oh,
she's
just give me a
doing
minute. I need to
here,
drink some water.
okay, all that she's doing here is to switch to a user that has privileges on the server. So the www data is just a service account that controls those who have access to the web server directory, right? But on the server, the folders and the files that are stored on the server, is there any user on the computer or the server who controls the folder? So, say on your computer, if you install WAMP or XAMPP, there will be this www data that controls the WAMP folder, right? But you are the one who is using the computer. So in this case, Tony is the one using that computer. So he's been able to successfully get Tony's password. And so now she's logged into the computer as if it is Tony. I don't know if you are getting the logic here. Let me see a thumbs up. Let me see a thumbs up. And she has a shell on the computer as Tony. So this is like Tony who has opened command prompts on his computer or on his server, and he's now doing stuff on his server. She's going to stabilize the shell, meaning that this shell you are seeing here, it's very fragile. Like I mentioned in the other shell, you can do space, you can do backspace, you can do a lot of stuff like going back, editing, and all that. So she's going to upgrade this shell into a shell that is more stable. And if you noticed, she has shown us some of the places that she creates her shell, how she easily creates shell without going to Metasploit and all that. She gave us a website, refshells.com. It's one of my sites that I use, a great place where you can create shells. And she recommended two shells for us, which are very, very stable. Now let's look at the next technique. Are we ready, Benis?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
So we will be looking for maybe tools that are already built into the system for us to be able to stable to upgrade our shell. Sometimes we can have to run different. Maybe Python could be available. If Python is not available, we still have Python 3 to try. And you know that Python 3 is on the system. So we'll be using Python 3 to upgrade our shell to a more stable one. Import pty hyphen, I'm sorry, colon pty. Then run spawn bin bash.
I think there should be a slash before the bin.
Oh,
There should be a
yes.
slash before the bin.
Yeah. No, I'm doing something wrong. Import pty.
Oh, the
Yeah, dot. That's a
Yeah.
dot. I missed that. Good. So you see, yeah, I'm not perfect either. The commands may be offered, but we're missing some things. But if you are looking at it, you'll figure out why the thing is not working. That's why we
Yeah.
control bullshitting sometimes. You figure it out at the end of the day. So when you run this command, now we are dropped into a better shell. We can actually go ahead and stabilize it more for us to maybe background the process. Then we go ahead to set the terminal environment. But I'm not going to do all that because the box is not really that intense that it maybe die or kill off any moment. So now we're going to go ahead. But you can actually Google about how to stabilize very well. You background the processes, then you set the terminal environment for us to be having an interest so that when you press tab and all those things, you'll be able to maybe get more automatically fill. So easy when I press tab at the moment, you cannot automatically fill stars. Maybe you're doing something. Good. So let's go ahead and run sudo tag L on this particular user. Oh, sorry, I didn't specify who we are. So we are, so now currently we are 20. 20 is now fully with us. We now move from the www-data user to Tony user in here. So now we can see what privileges or what things that Tony holds that we can use to maybe escalate our privilege to probably root or probably another user again. One thing that we should notice is that we have what we call the vertical privilege escalation and horizontal privilege escalation. When we are escalating our privilege horizontally, it's like we are moving from a particular user, let's say, let's look at department. You have a department, and in that department, you have an officer and a supervisor. It's more or less like you are transitioning something from your officer to a supervisor. But when you are moving directly to MD from an officer level, then it starts a vertical escalation. You are automatically going to the end, the organ of the place, the last person, the final say of the place. That's the route we are going to. So whatever privilege escalation we are doing now is vertical. We are trying to escalate our privilege from 20 to how do I say it? The root user. So sudo tag L, and we have a whole lot of interesting stuff here. So Tony should be able to run all these binaries without password. And I'm going to introduce you to another website again. This is called the GTFO bins. So GTFO bin is one of the websites that explains what this binary is doing, how we can escalate our privileges based on these binaries without password, maybe also using privileges and any other capabilities that we should be using. So let's move to GTFO bins.
While you do that, so you know
Yeah.
why she typed sudo dash L or tag L? What she's trying to find is, are there any privileges that Tony can run as if he is the administrator on the machine? So you know that when you're trying to install anything on your Windows machine, it will ask you to click whether or not you want to allow yes or no, whether you want to allow a software to run on your system. So what she's trying to do is to get that access as an administrator of the system in order to run some functions. And she realized that for some of the things we are seeing here, like the Yelp, the DMF, the Whois, Tony will be able to run it as root. That is what is in the first bracket without any password. So you see root, no password. So all these things that you see here, the user bin cancel, user bin time, user bin finger, these are services that Tony can run on the computer without being asked to type the password of the administrator on that computer. So she's going to a place where we call it GTFO bins, where she'll be able to get access to how she'll be able to run these things without any password. Let's go ahead.
Okay. So, well, I have not tried all the binaries here, but you can, there's no restriction against trying them to see which of them works for you. But what automatically works for me was the time. Sometimes some of them are just there. You may not even get anything out of it, but time works out for me properly. So we can go to time directly. Or after using escalating our system, then we can try the other ones and see what if the other ones also work for us. So now basically this is telling you something. Time. This executable can spawn an interactive system shell. Note, the shell might have its own built-in time implementation, which may behave differently than the binary, which is often located as user bin time. So what this is basically telling you that what if this system is not putting its built in here at the bin user at the time, but it's basically placing it at a different directory or something, or different location or different implementation. It's built differently. So you need to, if you come across such cases, then you need to understand how that is being implemented. yeah, this may still guide you to get the work done, but you need to understand how exactly that binary is being implemented. But good enough for us, we have the location, which we normally work with, is the user bin time. So now we go to unprivileged. Unprivileged, we don't have anything to do here, but what we are targeting is a pseudo. If we to run the SUID binaries to find them and we find that same time in our list, then we should be working with this particular category. But we run the pseudo tag also, we will stick to the pseudo to see what is in here. So basically, this is how to run this particular one. This function is performed by a privileged user if executed via sudo because the acquired privileges are not dropped. So the privilege are still attached to this particular binary. So Tony should be able to run time without a password, without any password at all. The moment he runs this particular time binary with sudo, he should be able to be dropped into a root shell. That's basically what this is saying here. And if you can read the remarks, there are environment variables involved that must be passed via sudo, the variable equals the value, or exported it to this, something like that. So it's a remark. But basically, this is what we are going to be working with, the understanding here. This function is performed by a privileged user if executed via the sudo, because the acquired privileges are not dropped. The privileges are not dropped on the time. It's still attached to it. So when Tony runs it, he should be able to be dropped into a root shell. Then we have automatically escalated our privilege. So let's go back to this sudo bin, user bin time. Okay, let me go back and see what I'm missing. Okay. Sudo bin time, I'm coming. Run without sudo. Without sudo will not work. Oh, like I'm missing something. Yes. The sh or the bash. I think I've seen it. So we run sudo with a binary, and the binary is in here. So now we need to specify the type of shell we want. Do you want an sh shell or you want a bash or a bash shell? What kind of shell that we want to be working with? So bin bash. Then automatically Tony has been able to upgrade himself to a root user. So now Tony is a root user. He can do whatever he wants
Please,
on the
please,
system.
let's give
Just
her a
based on
mighty clap. A mighty clap. Wow, 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 wow. So this time around, she has system level privileges. Oh, Charlie, top level, just top level. So what she's done is to explain every bit of the GTFO bins. If you have never used GTFO bins, you go there and you fumble. But you see, she took her time to explain it to us step by step. Why she's picking the sudo tab and picking the command that narrate and all that. What type of shell do you want? And she says, I want a bin bash shell. Somebody will ask, do you have types of shell? Yes, we have bin bash, we have bin zsh, we have other types of shell, and she prefers the bin bash shell. Why bin bash? This comes by default on every Linux box. Most of the time, maybe the shell that you want to pick, maybe bin zsh, maybe it didn't come by default on the box. So if you try that one, it will fail. So she's going for bin bash. Somebody is also asking that privilege escalation is a challenge. Now, there's a course on Udemy. I don't know whether it's free or not, but there's a course on Udemy. If you see me background, I will just tell you where you can get it, maybe for free or something close to free. So it's called Hack the Box to Your OSCP. It will teach you some of the skills to escalate privileges. So she used one of them, which is usually for easy machines, sudo-l. She also mentioned one of them, which was going to check some things. I will talk about all those things. But if you're interested in how to escalate privileges, both on Linux machines and on Windows machines, there's a course on Udemy called Hack the Box to Your OSCP. Please check it out. Please, Bennett, you can go ahead as we try to pawn. We are done pawning the box, but you go ahead. We'll ask the questions that are in the chat.
okay. So basically you see that now we are roots. Oh, give me a minute. Yeah, I'm back. So basically, we are now Tony. The Tony user is now root. And what does he have to do? He has access to do anything, just like me hopping on a domain controller. And yes, I can change policies. I can add a workstation. I can add a new user. You can do anything, literally anything at this point on this machine. So now you are good to go. But there are other ones I was hoping we could try. I don't know how they work. Oh, okay. So now you see I've reversed my privilege back to Tony again. And when we were tuning, we saw other binaries in here. I was thinking we could try the Yelp. I don't know if it will work, but
Yeah, let's go
we could
ahead.
try it
Let's see if
out.
we can do. Um, Emmanuel says he has
Okay,
a lot of
so
questions.
good.
Please drop
So there
all
is
of
no
them in the
sudo.
chat. We'll ask her.
So if you notice this, though it's showing on our system that we could use sudo to escalate our privilege without password on this, we don't have that category in here. So that's one thing you consider. So now you have to be going around understanding the binaries yourself and even figuring how you should even be able to leverage on that to work. So sometimes some of them will just be a decoy for you. A lot of them are there, but you need to figure out which of them works. So you notice that we don't have them. We have finger, we have MTR. Yeah, also the same problem. We can only use upload or download functionalities, and we have MTR, which also doesn't have what we are looking for. So our best bet was the time, which we could easily work with. Yes. So basically, that's the end of my CTF. And if you're looking for a flag,
Thank you.
you can go
Thank you.
ahead and
Thank you.
just pick your flag and root.
Thank you.
So any more questions?
Yeah, there are ton of questions. We didn't finish with the first one, so let me go straight
Okay.
for it. So she's going to get the root shell back, and then she will now um get the flag for the CTF. So somebody was saying that um you said you wrote it twice, right? Is it
Yeah.
that you bought them separately, or what happened? How were you able to, or there was a rewrite option for you when you actually wrote the first one?
Okay, so with OSCP, if you buy the voucher, it's just once you take it and you go ahead. If you fail, you rebuy it and you go ahead. But there's a package called the Lens One subscription. Lens One subscription is the one, it's very expensive because it comes with a whole study material for 1 year. Then you have two vouchers. So you write and you have another chance to write again in case the first one doesn't go well for you. So,
Okay,
but if you buy it individually, you need to rebuy it yourself. Then you retake the exam.
okay, okay. So I hope we have answered your question. So um somebody was saying with the OSCP, is there any institution that offer discounts or financial aid? And somebody also asked, what's your advice on hack the box machines when preparing for OSCP?
They are very good. Very, very good. That's what I would say.
Okay.
Some of the
Okay.
machines on Hack the Boss will shake you up. You realize that you ask yourself, am I even learning?
Okay. Okay.
That's how they are. So it's very good.
Okay. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Please drop it in the chat quickly. Whilst we try to wrap up for our session today. If your friend could not join us for the entire session, we will post this on our YouTube channel. That is Hack with Elvis. Please make sure you check it out. There are other videos on the channel that you can check it out. One thing I ask of us all is to help share this knowledge. It's free. You receive it freely. Help let's share the knowledge with people who are also trying to come up in cybersecurity. Um, Now, my final question is this. Is the cybersecurity field worth all the sacrifices and the pain involved in getting the first job? Is it worth it? Because I have a couple of people who always say that, Charlie, it's like you're always learning one thing after the other, one thing after the other, but you don't really like you don't get the first interview and all that. Is it worth it at all? And sometimes, how do you even get the first interview so that you can get a job?
Well, I'll say it's worth it. But talking about getting the first interview for even talking about first job, it's a whole challenge on its own. It's just like other industries. Other people, people wouldn't want maybe just a newbie working on something. So yeah, they always say you want experience, want experience. But I ask myself, if I don't start somehow, how will I get experience? So sometimes it takes one person to believe in you that, oh, okay, yeah, this person has shown a skill or has shown that they are able to work on this, do this. So why not try them? Then that will be your first interview you land. Sometimes it's discouraging. You go for some interviews and you ask questions, and end of the day, you don't get the job, and it's like it keeps on going, it keeps on going. But also your network, the network you made in the process of learning or building your skills or your career path, it's also one thing that I will talk about. It also helps you a lot because people that I've mentioned earlier about being my mentors have been in the industry way long before I have entered the industry. So if I have spoken to them, okay, maybe talk to them about something that maybe career-wise, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that. They may have people who they can vouch for or say, okay, as for this person, I can vouch for her. When you give her the work today, she's gonna deliver, she's gonna do the work for you. But assuming you don't even have the network, where are you gonna start from? So every industry, or even the security industry, need that network, a very strong network. Your network should be as strong to the extent of maybe just a matter of phone call, you get things done. That is what one of my bosses told me. You don't need to chase them around. Build a good network with people so that with just a phone call, they'll get things done for you. Because when you are there for them, they'll be there for you. That's how the whole industry works with getting your first interview.
Okay. Okay. There are two questions here, and then we would end the session.
All right.
Um, um, when you mentioned the network, somebody saying, can they network with us? Yes, we are on the WhatsApp page.
Yes.
We are on the WhatsApp page. Just look for us on the WhatsApp page. We are personally, I'm free. I'm a free person. Don't be afraid of approaching me. The same way you see me talk here and do neck pressing on Arsenal fans is the same way we are going to talk. So somebody saying that, let's say that you have a foothold on a web server, right? Now you are root on the web
Mm-hmm.
server. And this
Mm-hmm.
foothold, you realize that there is an AD that is connected to this server. So this server is connected to the internal network that has an AD on it. How would you
Mm-hmm.
navigate your way to the AD?
So is the person trying to say that you have a publicly accessed maybe targets that you've exploited and now you have been able to land on the system as root or anything, and you found a different AD connected to it. So that
Exactly.
means you'll be moving laterally. You'll be moving laterally now. So before you even move across the internal network, you need to understand or you need to still find or hunt for what could even lead you to that AD that you are assumingly seeing on that network or that server. You don't just automatically jump onto it. Sometimes you may be able to access the AD internally, but you won't be able to access it across board, maybe from out from the publicly accessed interface to the inside. Sometimes it's from the inside to the outside. So inbound and outbound connections are going to be playing on you there. So you need to know how to leverage on whatever you find in there. Your findings, enumeration, that is the only thing you're going to do. I can't tell you that, okay, do point A, B, C right now. Your enumeration game needs to be top notch to be able to naturally move from one asset to the other in a network. That's basically what I can tell you right now.
Okay, so somebody's saying that there are a lot of paths in this field. So how does he navigate and find his way out? I have a video on the different paths that we have, especially in Ghana. If you want to start cybersecurity, I have a video on the channel. Please check it out. After that, reach out to me and let's talk. I realize that most people want to start as hackers, right? But they have zero idea what it takes to really hack. It takes a lot to hack than to defend. Usually, when you want to defend, you're looking for certain things, right? You're looking for common things that a hacker would have done and all that. But when you are hacking a target, sometimes you have to evade firewall, sometimes you have to evade a lot of stuff. I've been on an engagement where we're hacking a client and we tried dumping, we got access through SMB and we tried dumping some credentials. Then the guy came and said, Charlie, we've noticed you. Our antivirus have picked you up. Our ADR has picked you up. We've blocked this, we've blocked that. You can't go and tell your boss that that's what happened. So you have to find another way around. So it's a lot of reading. But I asked him to go and check out other paths like GRC, those that do the ISO implementation and auditing. It's much more comparatively to me, comparatively, the GRC is much more easier than the attack and defending aspects. So please watch that video and let's talk more, Jason. Um, somebody saying, what's an AD? An AD is an active directory. When we say active directory, it is like a phone book. Okay, those days that we used to have a phone book. So it's a book that contains every company and their phone number. But now we don't use that anymore. At first, when you go to a phone booth to make a phone call, when you go there, there's a book that contains every company, the police, the fire service, and all that. It contains their name and their phone number arranged alphabetically so that you can easily search it. That's the same way for an active directory. An active directory is something that will help you to find the computers you want to go into and help you authenticate. Let me put it that way. So it indicates you that you want to go to computer A, right? Do you have what it takes to go to computer A? Do you have the permissions? Do you have the necessary credentials to go to computer A? It checks all these things and allow you access into the environment or not. And she's saying that before you can do that, you have to enumerate. That means search around your environment, do a lot of searching. Have you ever gotten to Bennett? This is a question to you, and then I think we would close our session. Have you ever gotten to a point in your learning where you got stuck and didn't know what to do? And there's a lot of learning material, so I don't know how to go about my learning, and it's so frustrating. Help us.
Hmm. Well, that is very it's something that always happens when you're starting the whole journey. You get stuck. Yeah, it happened to me. I had to be reaching out to people. Yeah, I think the first I was when I started the whole journey as a kid, I was watching Hackers Flex video. I was trying to replicate things, doing things. See, you're just doing things on your own, and sometimes you get stuck. I don't know. So I had to be redirected by a person. The person redirected is another person telling me, talk to this person, ask the person maybe they will redirect you properly. So it's more or less about talking to people. Sometimes you may start something and you'll be stuck. Ask someone who's already in the industry, how can I realign what I'm doing? And lots of resources are out there, and that is very true. Just try to find your niche. Just try to focus on one particular thing at a time. Don't try to do everything at the same time. You get overwhelmed and you feel like you're doing so many things at the same time. If you want to start today, introduction to cybersecurity, start the introduction to cybersecurity, try and finish it. Yes, a lot of us have a lot of courses on Udemy, other platforms that we've signed up. Maybe when we started the whole journey, we didn't even finish it. We're just hopping around doing every kind of thing that we want to do. But what I would say is that when you want to do something, pick that particular course, focus on it, and get the knowledge out of it. Then you move on. But when you are stuck, look for people in the industry that are already doing this and ask them, okay, I'm trying to do this. Maybe they will spot your problem and tell you, no, where you are starting from is not the right place. Why don't you go and reroute yourself and start from here? Then you might get back there. That is what somebody did to me. So that's the same thing I'll tell you.
Okay, okay. So let me take this question from Ellie. When
Okay.
switching to defensive, which certification did you take, or which one will you recommend? And he comes back and says that any learning path recommendation for this? And does Ghana cybersecurity industry really offer jobs in SOC?
Well, this one with the last question, I can read though. I know they have a set. They have a set just like a SOC. They monitor so many activities going on around the country. But yeah, they offer jobs. They have vacancies and stuff that they put out time to time. But sometimes getting work at those places, like I said, go back to networking again. They wouldn't just want to put anybody in there. So you need to prove yourself. You need to know your networks properly. And let's go back to
So
Ellie
I
asked a
think what
different
he's
question
saying is
again.
that do people really get SOC jobs in Ghana here?
Yeah, I'm a SOC analyst.
Okay, okay, okay.
I'm a SOC
So
analyst, so you get a
any
job.
any learning path towards that job?
I think Try Hackney has a particular path. It's beginner friendly and you can understand. They have defensive path, fully defensive. You understand yourself and yeah, somebody so mentioning something. It says, okay. Oh, sorry, the person is making a comment. The person is giving us a platform. So yes, Try Hack Me does a good job on that. I think even Hack the Boss has a academy that you can check. They have both defensive and offensive stuff. So defense is there. You can do that and you'll be good to go. And let's say what else is there for the certifications for blue team? You can take BTL one. BTL one is not that crazy. It's understanding of threat hunting, finding. Good. This platform is one place that anybody who wants to go into defensive can go to. KC7. KC7 is interesting. I still play it myself till now. KC7 gives you systems they build for you. You are hunting. And you also learn another thing called the KQL, which is the cluster query language. You learn that and you're able to use to query a system, find stuff. So you are more or less like a threat hunter. You're hunting for information. That is basically KQL for you. KC7 for you. It's blue team, pure blue team. So please look for KC7 online. Sign up and jump on it. You'll be able to maneuver your way around. It's easy and the user interface is very simple.
Okay, okay. So somebody was asking about internship
KC7.
opportunities. Internship opportunities. I think that one will have to be backdoor. Thank you so much for your time here, guys, and see you in the next one.
All
Please,
right. Have a
if
nice evening,
if
everyone.